Happy Sunday and welcome back to Serenity. So, I want to continue where I left off in episode 4 and play a couple of more podcasts from my Podomatic page and discuss the inspiration and the motivation that went into those playlists. Again, this is a big push that I'm trying to do for the next couple of days because on the 1st of July, I'm going to deactivate the Podomatic page and all that music will be gone. So, if there's anything you hear today, feel free, go over to the Podomatic page and take a listen. If you really like it, you can download it for free. But again, after the 1st of July, I'm going to be deleting everything on the site. So, without further ado, let's get to the music. So, June 1st, 2011. Let's see. Of course, I was still struggling with my divorce and everything, so I had been dating, and I guess this was one of those moments where my sensual side gets to show its face because I'm pretty sure I got multiple personalities where one day I'm romantic, the next day I'm like naughty and so forth. But this was one of those times where I was able to really dive into my sensual side and kind of convey that energy of, yes, I want to be with somebody. Yes, I want to be close to someone, but be gentle with me. And, this is one of those cuddle, snuggle playlists where you sit back and you talk and you share your pains, your stories, your frustration, your fears. But that person, they hold you and they let you know that everything's going to be all right. So I guess that at that particular point in time, I was dealing with some loneliness, or perhaps I had just met someone. I can't remember that specifically, but I definitely know that the general overwhelming urge was I needed to be patient, understanding, and gentle, and have someone be patient, understanding, and gentle with me. So I created this playlist, and hopefully that in itself explains a lot. Now, as far as the artists that I picked, well, I'm looking at the playlist, and again, a lot of these guys are familiar, or a lot of these artists are very familiar, and at that time I thought that the music that they were putting out was pretty hot. But then there was also a couple of people that I wanted to introduce that people weren't familiar with, and so that's what I did. And I believe this was a little bit after the Floetry breakup, and Natalie Stewart finally brought out an album. And for whatever reason, I've always thought Floetry was better together. Obviously, we've seen the videos and we've heard the sides of the story where, okay, I get it, it just can't happen, and it's kind of screwed up that they can't get on the same page. But I always thought they were good together. And I never knew how they would work apart. Marsha has brought out some pretty good music and everything like that, but Natalie Stewart definitely captured a little bit of the floetic sound that I like. So there was a lot about the album that I liked, and I thought that she'd be great for this playlist. Of course, Leela James, who's out there, shout out to Leela James. She's another one of my celebrity crushes. So you got Layla Hathaway, you got Leela James, and Jill Scott. Those are my three girls right there. If any one of them was to ask me to go to prom or to the Grammys, I would definitely be there. So I had to put Leela James on this as well. And then I went through a couple of other artists that I like and that everyone should know. But then there was a couple of people, like I said before, that no one did know. And this is, again, I always try to highlight that there was music overseas or just music on the underground that people needed to hear. And so I, on this playlist, decided to reach overseas. And there was another artist that just came out, Jesse Boykins III. He had started coming out with some music, and I think he's from Chicago. So shout outs to Jesse Boykins from my hometown of Chicago. I thought that this was a good opportunity to start putting some of his music because he made some very, very good soul music. Other than that, you had a couple of other people that I was very proud of. Eric Roberson, he's on there. It's been a long time since we heard from John B, so I put him on there. And then I wrapped it all up with some Glenn Lewis. So pay attention to the music from this soundtrack or from this playlist, and just understand that I'm trying to convey a nice, soft, gentle vibe to this. Perfect for snuggling, perfect for those long nights where you're alone or you're with someone and you just want to reflect. So, yeah, take a listen. So Libra I created for my birthday, and it was not supposed to be the playlist that it was today. At first, it was supposed to be just a bunch of songs that I wanted to play for my birthday. And I guess it didn't sit well with me, or for whatever reason that didn't happen, because I ended up making a playlist of nothing but artists who were Libras. So I went out and I did my research, and I found out a bunch of musicians, artists, and stuff like that who were Libras, and I said, okay, I'll figure out some way of mixing these people together, because they weren't going to all be the same genre, and they probably would not all have the same vibe or the same feel. But I was going to make it work because I wanted to show a little bit of creativity, some diversity, and I wanted to show how Libras give, how much creativity Libras have, and maybe your favorite artist happens to be a Libra. So then when I started writing about the episode, I was like, well, okay, artist is not enough. Let me do something that is a little bit more, I guess, global. So I said, let me find all these celebrities that are Libras. And when I did my research, I was shocked because there were some people that I could say, okay, yeah, I can see him being a Libra. But then there was also some people there that I was like, yo, that's a Libra? And it made me actually self-reflect, because most people think of Libras as being the charming, the flirtatious, the romantic, the dreamers, but there's a really dark side to Libras, as there is a really dark side to every zodiac sign, if you believe in those types of things. But anyway, Libras can be very petty and hold grudges, and they can be very, very, very rude and disrespectful, even though the flip side is that we don't even like disrespect, and we hate that cruel, dark behavior. But Libras have a way of being nice all the time, so that when they do flip and become angry, you see that side that even they themselves are ashamed of, but they justify it because I guess they've been nice for so long. So let's talk about some of those good Libras versus those bad Libras. So when I went down the list, there was folks like Elijah Muhammad and Gandhi, which I was like, okay, cool. Those are some very powerful, influential people. And Brian Gumble, Eminem, who else? Will Smith, Grant Hill, Barbara Walters, Jim Henson, well, all Libras. Tony Braxton, Nicole Parker, Ray Charles, Jermaine Dupri, Chuck Berry, Bernie Mac, shouts out, rest in peace, Bernie Mac. Libra made everybody happy, said some things probably that nobody else would say, but that man was charming. He had a way of owning the room, and that was, to me, that was a true Libra spirit right there. Grant Hill, Brett Favre, Serena Williams, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Russell Simmons, Simon Cowell. Now, this is where I'm going to start getting to the bad, because Simon, for the longest, I didn't like him, and I guess he was just, to me, I thought he was a dick. But then I realized he was in an industry where he had to demand the best of people, and it was, I guess, for ratings reasons, he had to be a dick, but obviously he did something right because they had him on the show. And I've never really heard, I don't even know if I've heard a song that Simon is responsible for, so I'm not sure of his talent, but I know from the shows he was a dick. Dita Von Teese and Bianca Beauchamp. Now these two, before I start talking about the bad, but Bianca Beauchamp from Canada, let's talk about her for a second. So when I first got in the military, that was my first time having internet, and I guess like any young man who's on the internet, you're searching, you're looking for things, and you come across, women who are adult models. So Bianca Beauchamp I ran across because I've always had this thing for visual arts and women. And for this particular woman, there was something very authentic about her. Now, she's known notoriously for her latex modeling. However, there was a something about her, or something about the photo she took. It was very pin-up-ish. It was very glam, and I loved it. And there were times where, she has red hair, and there were times where her red hair she would wear in a fro, and depending on how you look at it, some of her features, I thought she was black. I knew she was light-skinned, but I was like, maybe she's a little black. And time went on, and then we started talking about appropriation and things like that. And for whatever reason, I was like, y'all can't say appropriation with her because I always thought she was black. So come to find out, I don't think she is black, but I still love her, and I still think that she's a very beautiful woman. So if you're out there, if you're trying to figure out who the hell I'm talking about, Google her, Bianca Beauchamp, Beauchamp. Very beautiful woman. Again, beware. It's not safe for work, but I do like her look. And then let's talk about the bad Libras. So I always said that Libras have a dark side, and when I finally started looking at some of the Libras on this list, I was like, yo, I don't know if I want to claim these people. So in case you didn't know, T.I. and Lil Wayne are Libras. Very talented individuals, but could say some dumb shit every now and then. Snoop Dogg, all right, I like some of his music. I do think that he's a great hustle man. I think that he did his thing when he came back, and now he's doing his thing with Martha Stewart. And I know he had that little series for a second, but a lot of things about Snoop, he especially lately when he had this last album that came out where he was still talking about, I'm 40 something years old, I live in Hollywood, but I'm still gang banging. And I'm like, yo, really? Was it Nancy Grace? I think Nancy Grace is the one with the lip that don't move. I never did like her. She was on a show and she had the most annoying voice, and she'd be going on and on and on and on and on about crimes or things that she thought was unjust. And I'm just like, oh, lady, shut up. Let's see, who else? Jesse Jackson is a Libra. Really? Jesse? Al Sharpton is a Libra. Al Selfie Sharpton is a Libra. Who else is out there that I just... Derrick Rose. I guess I'm mad at him because I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, and that boy never really did. He had so much potential, but he was injury prone, and then that little incident he had in court. So thank you, Derrick. Thank you, Derrick Rose, for everything you did for the Bulls, but we didn't get there. A couple other people, I don't think these are bad folks, but Eric Roberson is a Libra. Gwen Stefani is a Libra. India Arie is a Libra. Shaggy is a Libra. Me, stop right here for a second. Usher, I believe Michael Douglas, and Eric Benet are all Libras. The reason why I bring this up is because of this. Libras are very sensuous people, very flirtatious people. But I've never in my life said that I had a sexual addiction. So when Usher, Eric Benet, and Michael Douglas get caught cheating, the first thing they want to start doing is claiming that they have a sexual addiction. I guess when you're rich and everything like that, you want to kind of like control how the media speaks about you, or you just want to save your image. You say that. I'm gonna just say this: as a Libra, I don't condone cheating, but I do know what it's like to be in a relationship where you're unhappy, and I too am guilty of being in a relationship and thinking about someone else. But being rich is no reason to be out here trying to claim you have a sexual addiction. You just a flirt. That's all you are. You're a flirt. You are a Libra, and that's who you are. Okay. You love sex. You like flirting with women. You got this little something about you, but take it from me, we know how to behave. Okay. Libras know how to behave. You hear me out there? Libras know how to behave. So, take a listen to this playlist. I got a lot of guys out there, or a lot of artists I picked that are Libras that I think that you will enjoy. And this next playlist, I get so excited talking about because I believe that this was the playlist that really, really put me on the map. Prior to this, I was just capturing moods, and I was in this really dark place, and everything was just so negative. Well, at least compared to Good Morning, everything was negative. Good Morning was not about getting heartbroken. It was not about, dating again. Good Morning was just, let's get this day started off right. And by this time, I'm really getting good with the software that I'm using, and I'm really getting comfortable with the music that I'm putting out because I believe it. My confidence is just like, it's up there, but you couldn't tell because I was sitting around going, this ain't good enough, this isn't good enough. And until I got the feedback from Good Morning, I was like, well, maybe I do finally have something here. So I'm mixing and I'm getting these songs. I'm introducing people to new music, new artists. And then Good Morning comes along and I'm like, I want nothing but feel good music. I want nothing. I don't care who it's by. I don't care what part of the world they're from. I just want people to wake up and I want the music to open the curtains for you. I want the music to open the blinds for you. I wanted this music to be about morning. So that's what I did, and I captured that vibe, and then to get to the artists I chose for this playlist. By this time, I'm just figuring out that Eric Roberson had like 3 or 4 CDs out. Okay, this man has a library. He's doing his thing, so I'm like, I gotta put him on there, and then I had to put some Lauryn Hill on there. And prior to this, I hadn't really paid attention to the Raheem Devon, but then I heard a song by him, and I've always heard music from him on the radio or from other people, but there was a song I had to put that on there, and it was from his mixtapes, because Raheem has a little mixtape game going on, and that made me really notice him, because the stuff I heard on the radio, I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm not a big fan of radio anyway, but then hearing some of the stuff he was putting out on mixtapes really caught my ear and made me pay attention to him. And then from that point on, I just started scrambling for anything that sounded like morning. I didn't care who it was. Was it Maxwell? Was it Sade? It didn't matter. I was going to capture this Good Morning vibe. So you'll hear me get really excited now looking back on it. Good Morning is probably that standout podcast that really kind of changed my whole way of doing things. From that point on, you can see up until Good Morning, I had something, and then after Good Morning, I took off, and I did this whole new thing, and now I had stories that had life, better life, or just a new, refreshing breath of life. And I'm gonna always stand beside Good Morning as being that playlist that really changed and defined my sound. So, without further ado, this is my last pick for the day. Enjoy. So again, thank you for sticking around and listening to me talk about music. I am really trying my best to give everybody a good idea of what's out there on my Podomatic site. If you've heard anything today, or if you hear anything for the rest of the week that you like, something that you think that you'd be interested in, or maybe you're just curious, go to the Podomatic site, take a look. I'm guaranteeing you there's a song, there's a playlist, there's something out there for you. And then for those people who've been following me for a year or two and you want to find out how does Serenity Soul get started and everything like that, go back and do some reading and find out where Serenity Soul started 6 years ago, and here we are in 2017. So I hope to make another episode sometime soon. I'll pick 3 more playlists, and we'll talk about that as well. I'll leave the link at the end of this video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you later. Peace.